In the last couple of days, the sudden escalation in Syria managed to gain everyone's attention. Amid two already ongoing conflicts in the region, out of which one has claimed more than 50,000 lives in the besieged Gaza Strip. But now, reports suggest that Israel is entering a possible confrontation with Syrian rebels. Arab media reports Israeli tanks rapidly advancing towards Syrian capital city of Damascus. Earlier, IDF also released footage of Israeli tanks crossing Golan Heights buffer zone into Syria, while some said IDF tanks reached Katana, south of Damascus. Footage of Israeli tanks advancing towards Syrian capital has been shared on X with claims that Israeli army marching to enter Damascus within hours. Meanwhile, an unverified report claimed that Israeli troops had already entered villages near Damascus. In just 2 weeks, Syrian rebels have made a stunning advance across the country, capturing key cities and ultimately toppling President Bashar al-Assad after 13 years of civil war. Across the country and world, celebrations erupted as Syrians rejoiced at the downfall of the Assad family, who had ruled the country with an iron fist for decades. However, with various rebel factions now controlling different regions, the situation remains uncertain and the future of Syria hangs in the balance. The question now remains, can these fractured rebel groups unite, or will Syria face even more instability in the years to come? To understand better, let's have a look at the number of groups and the area they control in Syria. First on the list is the group who became the reason to pull Syria back in the news. The Hayat Tahrir al-Sham or HTS and its political wing, the Syrian Salvation Government, represent the Islamist faction in Syria. The group is led by Abu Muhammad al-Julani. HTS controls most of Idlib and strategic cities like Aleppo, Homs, Latakia, and now Damascus. Experts and war monitors consider them as one of the most effective forces against Assad and now hold significant territory, including major ports. Second on the list is the Syrian National Army or SNA. SNA is backed by Turkey that serves as Turkey's military arm in northern Syria. They are armed, funded and largely commanded by the Turkish armed forces. Operating in the northern Idlib and parts of Kurdish-controlled Rojava, the SNA is in direct conflict with the Kurdish Syrian Democratic Forces or SDF, mostly because of Turkey's opposition to Kurdish autonomy. Third is the US-backed Syrian Free Army is also one of the rebel groups in the country. Earlier it operated out of the Al-Tanaf military base near the Syrian-Jordanian border, but slowly they expanded to control parts of the Syrian desert including Palmyra and northern Damascus. While they are a secular Sunni group, their operations heavily depend on US air and logistical support. This as per reports. Then comes the Kurdish groups. The most prominent among them are the Syrian Democratic Forces or SDF. The rebel group represent Kurdish interests in northern eastern Syria. Earlier, the group has emerged as a ferocious rival against ISIS or Islamic State and control areas including Deir az-Zor, the Iraqi border, and the Kurdish inhabited regions of Syria. The US support has made the group strong, well-trained, and motivated. However, that does not stop them from being a frequent target for Turkish-backed forces. The Southern Operations Room or SOR is a coalition of Sunni and Druze groups based in southern Syria, particularly in the provinces of Darra and Qanitra. Controlling the southern part of Damascus and the border with Israel, SOR holds a strategically significant position in the region. Historically, SOR has maintained cooperative ties with Israel, notably through the IDF's Good Neighbor program, which operated from 2016 to 2018. The ongoing revolution in Syria is not driven by any one group, but rather by the collective frustration of Syrians with the Assad's regime, corruption, foreign meddling, and the continuous disintegration of their country. Although each faction has its own goals, the protests are united by the common hope for freedom and dignity.
Tune into TOI videos for all this and more. Click on the bell icon to subscribe and never miss an update.